What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Lambo Plays Podcast, episode 123, UFC Seattle. And I'm your host, Mike, along with my co-host, Timothy Troiano. Timothy, UFC Seattle, a lot of mush mash, all types of shit going on in this card, a lot of pullouts, a lot of guys coming in from fucking other organizations, all types of stuff going on in this card. But they somehow still kept together. I mean, a good amount of fights here, which that's what's shocking about this card is like all the fucking dropouts. And if you look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different fucking fights fell out, yet they still ended up with 12 fights, which is pretty impressive. You know, they have these guys on the call better now, I guess.
Yeah, they're this is just like replacement level, should be getting Dana White Contender Series fights guys that they're like, hey man, we're gonna give you your chance. So you got to fight on short notice or no notice and come to Seattle. So they're like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be an interesting card because there is some newcomers here. There's some guys that haven't fought for a while that are fighting. There's Dana White's Contender Series guys that probably don't even belong on this card, but it is what it is. With that being said, before I go on and shout out my chat, guys, give my co-host a very happy birthday today. It is Timothy Troiano's birthday, so shout him out, give him a happy birthday, and if he happens to give you a lot of split decisions today, give him a break. Don't go hard on the guy if he has too many split decisions today. So, first in the house, it is Mushroom. What's up, Mushroom? Narco and Tim. One more sleep until violence. Azure. Thank you always, Narco Cop and Tim. Yes, should be a card with a lot of violence. Let's effing go. Smash the likes, people. Thank you, Azure. Daz. Rambo via Rambo or Lambo via Rambo. Let's go. I couldn't even read it. Dumpy, miss you boys. Keep killing it. Greatest show on earth. What's up, my friend Dumpy? Thank you for joining. D807. All love to Narco, Tim, and the crew. One of the realest in the scene. Thank you. I appreciate you. Double flush. Time to make more money. And hold on. I don't even want to go further because he said time to make more money. This guy has been on an absolute tear the last 3 weeks. Last week, I think he made 17K in the Discord, like insane amount, just hitting everything under the sun. So congratulations to you, Double Flush. Joel, 3 weeks of great money in a row, and this week's looks like great opportunities. Let's go, my friend Joel. Appreciate you as well. Mr. Chico, that time again. Let's print some money. Yes, sir. Danny Link, best part of my day. It's also the best part of my day. There will be blood. What's up, fam? Dissection. What's up, my man? Thank you for joining. This guy's the GOAT, by the way, because he does the timestamps right after the show. So I appreciate him greatly. Thank you very much. Craig Crowley. What's up, my man? Elijah, let's effing go. Kyle Larison says, let's go. Blunt Force MMA, Lambo time, baby. Let's effing go, Narco and Tim. Thank you for joining. We haven't seen you for a while, I think, Blunt Force. Eric, what's up, my man? Thank you for joining. Eric Bets Fights. What's up, my friend? Thank you for joining as well. Kavoth MMA. Tim going font by split is a lot. Guys, I said take it easy on the guy. It's too early. It's his birthday. Relax there. Drevi, what's up, my man? Thank you for joining as well. Luke Golding, he says, happy birthday, Tim. And then Dixon says, buy Tim a VIP lap dance. Oh, you would definitely like that one. Just a lot of happy birthdays from everybody in here, Tim. You could see them yourself. James Adler, Joshua, everybody, Jermaine. Lots of birthdays out there, so appreciate you guys. Uncle, my favorite uncle's in the house. Uncle Wheezy, how are you doing? Cashville Rican says happy Friday and happy birthday to Tim as well. Jesus, there's a lot of people in here. Mark, what's up, my man? All right, 150 people in here, Tim. We got 12 fights to go through. So, without further ado, let's start over here in the light heavyweight division. It is the 16-6 Modestas Boukus versus the 11-1 Rafael Sakara. This one is yours, Tim. And again, for a change, Tim, you do not get a WMMA fight.
Get a banger here. Get a banger. So this fight's just like, again, this is a common theme. I'm going to be on the card, so just please bear with me here. I do genuinely think that a lot of these fights go, and a lot of these fights have major question marks in them. Boukus to me is a generalist that, you know, has kind of a suspect chin, but does everything okay. I think that Sakara, there's nothing really like predictive data wise that anybody can tell me about this guy. Like, he's just got major question marks everywhere. The only time that we've seen him in the UFC octagon, he gets hit once and he just shells up like a turtle and then just gets finished against a fighter who's later on in this card, who does hit hard, but it was just terrible look from him. And then outside of that, he's fighting like guidance counselors in high school and cab drivers and shit like that and finishing them. So to me, I just think that Boukus doesn't have the same power that Ebo does. And I just think that there's more likely of a chance that you get a decision from Boukus. So his decision is plus 300. His split is plus 1,000. If this fight is close, and split is plus 800. But I like the Boukus decision more than anything. I think that he doesn't typically finish guys. There's a lot of guys, even in Cage Warriors, that he was just bringing to the end of fights and just jabbing and kicking and staying at range and just staying out of a fight. So hopefully Sakara is not just a gigantic pussy and can take a few shots here and last 15 minutes and lose a decision. How about you?
Yeah, I don't know if you remember last time Sakara fought versus Ebo Aslan. I warned everybody about this guy. I said these are the things that I saw on tape, and you could see some of his tape on his Instagram because there's. First of all, let's start with this because I'm going to probably go a little bit longer on this because I want people to know some of this stuff. First of all, Rafael Sakara fights in this demo fight league in Brazil. It is absolutely one of the most fraudulent leagues out there. First of all, they don't put any tape out there on YouTube, barely any, because they scrape it off because there's so many questionable, weird things that happen. Like guys just drop for nothing. And they basically try to build fighters. And also from what I heard is the owner of this demo fight manages these guys. So I don't know for sure if he's the manager of Sakara, but it's very possible he is because I see too many fights there. I don't know if you remember that girl from Dana White's Contender Series. She was also from the demo fight league. All her stuff was scraped. That's the one that knocked out the Canadian. I don't know if you remember that. She was like a huge underdog and she knocked out, right? So my point is this league is very fraudulent. Like, okay, here's the thing for me, right? If you're a good Brazilian fighter, right? Why are you not in these? Like every single one of his fights is in demo fight, qualified combat, which this qualified combat, they fight literally in a mall, bro. It's the funniest fucking shit, bro. I swear to God. It's literally in a mall. You see people walking around shopping and there's a ring like right in the middle of this mall and they're fighting. It's funny as shit. And then, you know, this demo fight, like I said, it's just terrible. How about the other leagues in Brazil? What happened to them? How come he doesn't fight in those leagues? You know why? Because I think he's a fraud, honestly. I really do. You know, you have to kind of look and say, man, this guy has, 12 fights, whatever. How come he's never fought in these other leagues? Like he's fighting in this shit organization against complete and utter frauds. And the thing I'll tell you, Tim, even against the frauds in some of the clips I've seen, and I said this in the last breakdown, he fucking shells up on the cage like this. And I said that exact same thing against Aslan, And he did it, didn't land shit, and quit. So, like, I understand Aslan hits hard, but this shelling up shit on the cage, bro, just tells me you're probably a fraud, man. You really are. So, Modestas, for whatever he is, I think he's okay at everything. He's not terrible. He can strike. He has good cardio. He has decent volume. He can kick. It's like, and at least he has heart, bro. Like, I don't know about this fucking guy, this Sakara guy. Honestly, I don't think he has heart. So, like, I know people are saying, well, he's a black belt. And okay, black belt. I don't know. Maybe out of the Cracker Jack box, maybe. Like, I don't know if he's a legit black belt. And then people say, well, he trains with Almeida. Well, we saw, okay, he trains with Almeida. Almeida doesn't fight like fucking he did in Aslan fight. And then you know what? One other extra thing, Tim. If you look at his training clips, bro, this is the thing. If you actually look at his Instagram in training, I swear to God, he literally shelling up like this and the guy's teeing off on him. I'm like, look, this guy is doing it in training. He's doing it in fights. This guy's just doesn't want to get hit. He's scared. So, like, yes, does he look the part? Sure. Is he big? Sure. They say he's a black belt? Sure. Is he Brazilian? Yes. But everything else doesn't check out, bro. Like, this guy is just, to me, he's fraudulent. I really believe he's fraudulent. And that's the reason why Boukus is such a big favorite. Boukus shouldn't be this big of a favorite against literally random Cage Warrior guys. You know what I'm saying? And now he's this big of a favorite against this guy. I think this guy's a fraud. I think Boukus is going to get him out of there, man. I just, hopefully it's not in round one because I'm going 2-3 KO, 340. I just think he's going to put it on him. This guy is just not it to me, man. Like, maybe he lands a takedown. I don't know. Maybe he goes a takedown this time. I just don't know. He didn't even shoot a takedown against Aslan, so I don't really know. But 2-3 KO for me, Boukus. I don't think he's going to lose this guy, honestly. I really don't. Maybe, I think if you're playing Sakara, just play sub one. Literally. Play sub one on this guy because that's his win condition, in my opinion. He's going to have to get it down to the ground and possibly finish. He has good kicks, I will say that, but his hands suck. He doesn't throw much. Very, very low volume. Cardio is unknown. Like, I mean, could be fucking complete dog shit with cardio too. So, yeah, I mean, I had a lot to say about this shit fight, but there's a lot of information out there about this guy that I don't know, man. I think he's a fraud, honestly. I really do. And if you kind of like zoom out just a little bit and think to yourself, like, why in the world is Modestas Boukus almost minus 300? Like, and then that should answer your question. All right, let's go over to we're going to do a little differently. Let our chat, let's see what they have to say about this fight. Boukus is going to get him out of there early, they say. Max bet. I would never max bet Boukus. That's for damn sure. Not at this price. Yeah, and Dontel Main trains with John Jones. Exactly. That's my thing. A lot of people run with that, though. A lot of people are like, oh, Almeida. Who gives a shit? This guy's not Almeida. What else do we have? Uncle E says, if Sakara wasn't a fraud, there's no way this line. Exactly. Why would it be so big? In my opinion, I know that sucks and shouldn't be a favorite, but this is a bad UFC fighter. This dude is just a bad. Correct. I agree. I heard some fucking knocking. Sakara. Give me 1 second, Tim. Take this off for a little bit. Someone's knocking on the door. Sorry.
No problem. Modesta's been training with Aspinall and those guys, been tuning up the ground game. Sure, he's good everywhere this fight. Yeah, I kind of agree. Yeah, I mean, I just think that this Sakara guy is just like, there's just so many question marks on this dude. Could he come out and fight like a different fighter in this fight? For sure, but I mean, we just never know. You're betting on just shit that's just not predictive. Boukus is like Menifield. Betting him at this price is cancer. Yeah, it's either cancer or full-blown Liberace AIDS. Wheezy, hit that thumbs up, everybody, 100%. One pile of shit is better than the other pile of shit. Yeah, I mean, one is like a small pile, and the other is like the biggest pile ever. So yeah, totally agree there.
I am so sorry, guys. Yeah. Anyways, we left off. Thank you for continuing it, Tim. But we left off at that. I mean, this guy is just. It is what it is. He's not a great fighter. I think he's a quitter. Maybe he's gonna prove me wrong. Maybe he's gonna say that. Show differently here, but I don't think so. I really don't. So, all right, let's move on. Fight number 2. It is in the middleweight division. It is the 34 9-2 Nurulstan Rizaboyev versus the 9-2-1 Eric Mechanico, and I will kick this one off. I kind of like Mechanico, honestly. I think he's okay. He's a southpaw. He's very thick. He's a main training partner of who fought last week in the main event. God, why am I drawing blank? Cannonier, sorry. Yeah, he's the main training partner for Cannonier, and kind of like not similar build, but I mean, this guy is built like a truck too, man. He's very thick. He's a southpaw. I don't know if he's a striker or grappler. He does kind of both. He mixes it in. I would say maybe he's primarily a striker, but he mixes in a lot of grappling on tape. And, I don't think his striking is great. I think he has decent kicks. He's got decent boxing too. I don't want to say it's terrible, but it's not great. I think his defense is not great. He tends to get hit in a lot of these fights, but I think he's very tough, honestly. I think he's super tough. He's taken, some big punishment. He gets hurt in some fights, but the guy is tough. He comes back in a lot of these fights, gets takedowns. And the guy fought at 205, last time out. The guy's it's not a little guy, And I heard one of his interviews, Tim. He says he gets up to fucking 220 pounds, this dude. So he's cutting a lot of weight to get to 85. Like it's not an easy cut for this guy. He's going 35 pounds. He's a big dude. He's thick. And, on the other hand, Rizaboyev is big as well. When I say big, he's long, right? He's 6'5", he's tall. I don't think he's big, like thick, right? He's kind of a skinnier 6'5" guy, right? I mean, this guy fought at 170, right? And they literally asked Mechanico, is there any chance? Like, he's like, there's zero chance I can make 170. Like, I just can't make 170. I'm too big to make 170, And so what I'm trying to get at is the fact that, Rizaboyev obviously has a lot of power in his hands. He's dangerous early, but I do think he can get taken down, Tim. And, Buckley's a great fighter, right? And he got a lot of takedowns, but I think Mechanico is a bit bigger and stronger than Buckley is. He's a thick, big 85er. And I think he can get takedowns as well against Rizaboyev. And I think a little bit of the difference is I think Mechanico is going to be heavier on top. When this guy probably rehydrates, he's right back up to probably 210, 215. And, Buckley's not that. Buckley's not rehydrating at 170 to 215. Might be 190, but not 215. And this guy's he has power in his hands too. Like I see him touch people and they get hurt. But Rizaboyev is super tough, man. Super, super tough. Very, very hard to finish this guy. And you saw it in the Buckley fight, right? He took a lot of punishment. And in 45 fights, he's only been finished twice. Once by sub, once by KO. And they were ages ago, man. Like when I say ages ago, these were in 2016 and in 2014. That's when he was finished. So this guy is very, very hard to finish. I don't think Mechanico is going to finish him, but I love the decision prop on him. I gave it out to my Discord earlier in the week when it was a bit higher. Currently, we're looking at plus 650. It was at 700, so it's not a big difference. It's 50 cents, but I like that look there at plus 650, man. I think Mechanico can mix in takedowns here, can get on top. He can lay and pray a little bit, throw a little ground and pound, and kind of win minutes, man. Win minutes on the ground. So Yeah, I think the price is too high on Mechanical by decision. I don't know if they're like, Ruzaboyev, listen, he's 2-7 in decisions. There's a reason why. Like, he's not a minute winner. He's a moment winner, and he can knock you out or submit you, but he's not a minute winner. So I'm taking the decision prop here, 650 on Bet Rivers. Yeah, way too big in my opinion.
I was kind of leaning that way too, and then I just decided to go with the end split at plus 900, and then if you want to play either guy by split, it's plus 1600. I just think that this is a weird fight for me because I know I totally agree with everything that you said about Ruzaboyev not being a minute winner, but Mechanico to me, like in this fight, kind of needs to get takedowns. I think he can get takedowns, but I think he needs to get takedowns. And if he doesn't get takedowns, I think that I could see him lose a decision or lose a split by moments here, and just getting maybe even like similar to like the Rob Font versus like Aldo and Rob Font versus Chito Vera, where it's like, dude, this guy might even outstrike him like 1.5 to 1 or 2 to 1 and still lose a decision, just because he doesn't really hit hard, and the bigger shots and the clear, huge shots are going to be coming from Ruzaboyev. So I like ends by split. If you want to take a shot on either guy by split, is it ends by split is plus 900. But for the show, I'll go end split, and I'll go Ruzaboyev by points at plus 650 as well, and then his split is 1600. So I do think that there's a chance for an early bonk as well for Ruzaboyev, just because it's kind of been typical. It's been typically his win path, and I do think that, like you said, Mechanico has gotten hurt in multiple fights, and he kind of does throw some like naked kicks out there sometimes. And I think that if he does that against Ruzaboyev, he's probably going to catch a right hand.
You know what? One more thing I do want to add. It's very important. It's a short notice fight for both guys, right? But Mechanico was alerted last Friday, right before his, or Thursday, I think, right before his Tough Enough. He had a Tough Enough main event. He said in his interview he was training for a 5-round fight when he got the call. So, the guy is ready for 5 rounds, he says. That's what he trained for. Meanwhile, Ruzaboyev didn't have anything scheduled, did he? Like, this is a very late notice for him. It's literally a 1-week notice. He's taking this fight on like a week and a little bit more. And the issue is he's already a gasser, man. Like, he's already a gasser, and he's taking this on short notice. So I don't know if that's a good thing for him. Let's see what's chat saying. Ruzaboyev, too much experience compared to this guy. Sure. That's for sure a thing. He definitely has way more experience. I like the over. I like the over as well. I gave that out as well to my Discord. Fading Ruzaboyev for being related to the guy who pulled on. Okay, that makes sense as well. Eric had less training. Ruza had a fight booked for October with a full camp. That's not true. October? Hold on. What? I'm so confused. Eric had less training. Ruzaboyev had a fight book October, bro. We're in February, man. My man. He had a fight booked last October, you mean? I don't know what he's trying to say here.
Yeah, even if it's like last October, is 5 months ago.
That has no bearing. And by the way, this guy had a camp, definitely had a camp. He had a 5-round fight coming. He said it in his interview. If you go back and listen to his interview at Fight Bananas, he said he's been training for 5 rounds. He had a fight scheduled last week in Tough Enough that got pulled, and they put him on this card. So it's important to know they were focused on Cannonier. Now you're going in circles, brother. You're going to something else.
Somebody posted the Mechanico takedowns over a half at plus 100 on DK. I mean, that's like.
I mean, it might hit. It possibly could hit. I mean, if he gets him. The problem is, he can get starched early, and
that's the line. I mean, I think that's why they're setting the line that way. I mean, if the fight goes 3 rounds plus 100,
and it's not a guarantee he's going to shoot. Like, sometimes he just stands and strikes. A lot of fights. So it's kind of not. He kicks a lot. Might kick. Who knows? But yeah. Let's move on. Fight number 3. It is in the welterweight division. At a catchweight, guys. This is a catchweight of 175. It is the newcomer from Bellator, the 12-2 Austin Vanderford, or Austin Van Zant, or Mr. Van Zant, whatever you want to call him, against the 12-5 Nikolai Veretennikov. Tim, yeah, give us what you got over here with this weird matchmaking here.
Again, don't kill the messenger here. I just think that a lot of these fights are very like close, unknown fighters. Like, I mean, I know what you're gonna get with Veretennikov. You're gonna get a guy that's kind of low volume, can strike, has some power in his hands, doesn't like to get grappled, won't grapple at all himself. But in fights versus two strikers that are, pretty solid in Michael Morales and Danny Barlow, he had both of these guys shooting takedowns against him. So clearly he's good enough on the feet to where they feel like, okay, I want to get this fight on the ground. And then on the ground, he just doesn't seem to be very comfortable in takedown defense. He doesn't really seem very comfortable in get-ups and jiu-jitsu. So that's clearly his weak point. And then you go to Vanderford, who's just, he's usually a grapple heavy. It's not like he can't strike at all, but his strikes are primarily to get in range. He's like a wrestle boxer to just get in range to try to get takedowns. He's not very great. He's not really, I wouldn't say good at on the feet, but he's not like horrible on the feet standing. If he can't get takedowns, I do see him losing either by KO or pretty clear decision striking in this fight. But I do think that you can rely on him to shoot a ton of takedowns, even when he gets hurt. And then a lot of the knock on him is, the last couple losses that he took in Bellator against Musasi and forget the other guy, Aaron Jeffrey. And both these guys are like 185ers, and one's an absolute killer that has like over 30, like 30 to 40 finishes. Like just so to me, it's just like, okay, if he can't get takedowns versus these guys, he's gonna get mauled on the feet versus both of those guys. So I just don't think that the takedown defense and wrestling of Veretennikov is on point with Aaron Jeffrey or Musasi. So to me, it's like, I do think that there's a good chance that Austin can get his game off. Add that this is going to be a catch weight and not at 185, and it's at 180?
175.
175. Sorry, 175. So you get a guy that's basically coming down, 10 pounds versus a guy that's, just doesn't have to cut the last 5 pounds. So to me, I think that is also an advantage for Austin. So give me Austin by decision plus 220, Austin by split plus 800. Again, ends by split is plus 500. This is a very binary fight to me. I think if one guy stands, he's going to win if the other guy doesn't. So it could be also get some takedowns at the end of a round, lose some striking, and refs don't know really what they're calling.
Yeah. You didn't touch on some things on this fight, which is I have to touch on. Again, this card is like a complete mess. So the one thing I want to touch on is, Veretennikov was supposed to fight Billy Goff last week. He was on last week's card. He pulled out 2.5 weeks before that. He pulled out of the fight. Okay. Now they gave Goff another opponent in Fugit, and they placed him on this card, on the Seattle card, right? And then Fugit pulled out. So Fugit pulled out now, and Billy Goff doesn't have an opponent. So apparently, from what Billy Goff said, is Billy Goff was offered Austin Vanderford. And Billy Goff said, nah. He called his manager, and his manager said, no, we're not taking that fight. Obviously, it's smart because on short notice against a very good wrestler like Vanderford, it's probably not wise for Goff to take that fight, right? So he declined it, right? But then all of a sudden, Tim, they make this fight with Veretennikov now. So it's like, timeout. This is the guy that pulled out of a fight for last week. And you're telling me now, 1 week later, he's on the card again. Like, what the fuck happened? And from all my sources that I have, he's been in and out of training in California at King's MMA. So somebody had mentioned that it was a visa issue. That's not the case. This guy's been in California. And if you listen to his interview from like 4 weeks ago, he says he hasn't even left the country in forever. So I'm like questioning, why did this guy pull out against Golf and then now take a short notice against Vanderford? And what I can come with, a conclusion, Tim, is, first of all, I do think the UFC wants Vanderford. Obviously, they're signing him from Bellator. They want him to win. Second of all, I kind of have a feeling they told Vertenikov, like, listen, you're our last option here. You're either going to take this fight or we're going to cut you. And this is just, I don't have info on this. I just have a sneaky suspicion this is what happened here. Because it makes no fucking sense that this guy pulled out from last week's fight and now is fighting a week later. Like, are you injured? Did you pull out of injury? Okay, well, if you pulled out of injury last week for last week's fight, well, you're not feeling better a week later. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know, man. There's something very fishy going on with this fight. My sneaky suspicion is this guy's injured and he was kind of, I don't want to say forced, but I feel like that they gave him an ultimatum. They said, hey, you're either going to get cut or you're going to take this fight. Which one is it? And so, you know, if that's the case, he probably like, fuck it, I'll take the fight. You know, I don't want to get cut. So yeah, with that all being said, I do think Vanderford has the much better cardio of the two. I've seen Vertenikov slow down a lot in round threes. I don't think it hits, but I am going to take a poke on Vanderford 2-3. It's 1,100 and 1,600. And then 2-3 sub is 1,400. So, you know, he's the grappler. If you believe that he's going to get the fight to the ground, you know, it's going to come later probably too, because the guy has great cardio. Like, Vanderford can go and go and go, and he could shoot a lot of takedowns. So, you know, I'm going to take a shot here in 2-3, man. I'm going to see maybe he can lock in a sub. I mean, the guy's been doing a lot of grappling competitions. He is good on the ground. And Vertenikov, I do think he has pretty good takedown defense. But when you look at it, like, which really good grapplers has he faced? Michael Morales, he's a striker, but he has a wrestling background, like but he strikes. He's a striker. Like, even if Morales gets you down, it's not like he's a jiu-jitsu guy. Like, he's going to hunt submissions. You know what I'm saying? So who is the best fucking guy? Anthony Ivy? But he killed Ivy in round 1, so that doesn't matter. Yeah, I just feel like it's very possible that Vanderford can drown him later here. And then adding to it is the injury stuff that I think is possible. It's possible this guy's injured and kind of forced to fight. You know, I don't know. Let's see what chat's saying here. UFC may want to push. Yeah, I think they do. Narco with the investigation. If he pulled out 2.5 weeks before last week, then he's had about a month off. Maybe he's better. I understand he might be better, but Anthony, the fight was last week though. So he didn't think he was going to be good for last week, but he's good this week, 7 days later. I don't know. It's weird. It's really, really weird, but it's possible. It's possible that he's better, but what else here? Any concerns with Vandy? He's a little bit outsized, not too much. Remember, he's fighting at 85 against huge guys, man. If you watch the Jeffrey fight, I'm like, dude, what is this guy doing in the ring with Jeffrey? Like, he literally looked tiny compared to Jeffrey, man. So I don't know. I don't think it's a huge size advantage here for Vertenikov. He's bigger. Definitely, he looks bigger at faceoffs. But Vertenikov is, you know, fought at 70 his entire career. He's not like he's a big dude or a guy that fights at 85 and is dropping to 70. I don't think so. The concern is obviously Vanderford's chin. He's been chin 2 in a row. I think it's at 85, man. It's different. Those guys hit much harder. If you listen to Buckley, he even says it in his interview. Joaquin Buckley literally says, man, those guys hit way different at 85. He literally said that. He's like, that's why I had to get the hell out of there. So it's different, man. It's different when it's 15 pounds more and guys are much bigger. And yeah, I mean, I think it's Vanderford here. I don't know. Let's see if it's 2-3. It's most likely decision if he wins, but I'm banking on some injury stuff, and
I don't hate the sub late. I think that the sub late's a good line at plus 14, 2-3.
It's a dart throw. It's a dart throw. All right, let's move on. Fight number 4. It is in the bantamweight division. It is the 20-6 Ricky Simón versus the 14-1 Javid Basharat. And a lot's been made about Basharat. He looked very, very bad, honestly, at weigh-ins. He looked like he was hungry, man. Very, very skinny, very weird looking build. But, it doesn't take away from his, he's got good footwork, good striking. He's very fluid. He's very good defensively, good grappler, good fight IQ for the most part. The one thing he lacks, I think, that I see on tape is cardio. He tends to gas always in round 3, this guy. He's always tired in round 3. He's always fucking tired in round 3. And last fight, he lost the fight because of round 3. He looked bad in round 3, man. And he got his first loss of his career because he was tired. Here against Simón, I do think Simon's regressed, man. I said that I really don't like what I see from Simón at all. I think he's been looking a lot. People are talking about his build. He's always built like that. He always looks great on the scale. He always looks cut up and big and solid like a rock. But I don't know, man. Last couple of fights, he's looked really, really bad. And I know Vinicius Oliveira is good, but Vinicius Oliveira is also very flat-footed. He's a plotter. He should have had some success in that fight. And he really didn't have much success. Outside of Oliveira hurting his own leg from kicking him, what success did Ricky Simón have in that fight? None. He didn't have any success. And he was a minus 200, 670 favorite in that fight. And he looked awful. So Batista fight, all right, fine. Batista's the hard guy to fight, very good kicker. Yadong Song fight, he absolutely got his ass whipped for 5 rounds, right? So 3 fights in a row, good fighters, but he's looked a shell of himself, man. Because remember, this guy back before, he has a win over Merab. This guy has a win over Montel Jackson. He was a good fighter, and I don't know what happened to him, honestly. I really don't know what happened to this guy. I kind of think it's maybe mental, because he's not old. I mean, the guy is 32. Maybe it's physical wear and tear. Maybe I really don't know. But the thing here is going to be quickness, man. The speed, the footwork. Basharat has much better footwork, much more speed. I think he's going to give him a lot of problems with that in a big cage. The big cage matters here. He's not going to be able to close the distance easier. Stuff like that. But I do think that it's going to be a close fight just because of how Basharat fights. When has this guy pulled away from anybody? He's constantly dropping one round to everybody, And so there's really nothing I like. I'm going to say this straight up. I wouldn't bet anything, guys, anything on this fight. I don't like any of the props. If there's one prop I would bet, which I even wouldn't because I don't even like the price, it's Simón by decision. It's plus 290. I don't think he wins, though. I really don't. I think he loses a 29-28 here to Basharat. Tim?
Yeah, I'm basically gonna echo chamber what you just said. The play is a play that I think is a losing bet. I would add the split to Ricky as well, because it's how he would win this fight. Like, the only thing that I think that is like different from his last few fights is this is a guy that can be taken down. Like, Gravely got this guy down. Like, the Ricky problem that I had in the last fight, the biggest thing that I had was, it wasn't like he wasn't. Normally you could just be like, dude, he's got unbelievable cardio and you can just depend on him to chain wrestle forever. Like, he's just going to chain wrestle you guys. And like, that's not happening. Like, he was just going for like one shot and like, what was the two, like, landed 2 takedowns.
No, the last 2 fight, even against Batista, he looked awful. His cardio was completely gone.
And he just wasn't chaining anything. He was just doing single shots, and was like, once he didn't get the first shot and they were like shitty shots, he just gave up. He wasn't like, okay, I'm going to reclinch it. I'm going to go back for the single again. I'm going to try this again. If you get up, I'm going to still do the same thing. I'm just going to keep trying to put you back down. Like, it's been really concerning to watch him just kind of give up in those situations. When you're just talking about, I'm like, from a striking perspective, he just wings shots to get into close. Again, he's a wrestle boxer, just tries to wing huge shots, get close, be able to get a takedown. So he's super, super predictable on the feet. So yeah, I think the speed is going to be a problem. I think the big cage is going to be a big problem, but his win condition is to go back to old Ricky from 5 years ago. And that's still, even if he does that, it's probably a greasy split.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just don't like the matchup in general, because Javid is a good grappler himself, and he can counter grapple. You know, he's going to get up. He's going to I don't think Ricky's going to be able to hold him down, and I don't see Ricky like chaining 5, 6, 7, 8 takedowns against this guy, you know? So on the feet, you know, he's going to be much slower. He's winging big overhands, and his striking is not great. And like I said, last 2 fights, the one thing that Ricky had, or the 2 things that Ricky had, were wrestling and cardio is kind of gone, man. Cardio doesn't look good lately. I played him against Batista, and my God, he was fucking death gas in round 2. I'm like, what the hell? Like, this is not fucking Ricky Simone here. Like, what happened to this guy? So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's some pretty good comments here. JJ says he looked pretty shit on the scale too. I didn't really see that, but it's possible. Yeah, I didn't pay close attention. So it could be. The fight is over 2.5. Yeah, I think it goes over as well. Ricky came in at 135, all exhausted. He cut a pound too much. Yeah, that's never a good thing. Ricky took too long to come out, which another person says. Possible split. Yeah. I see a basher at elbow to win a decision, fighting for his job, I think. Is he? It's possible. I don't see them cutting Ricky, though. Huh?
Yeah, 3 losses. I mean, he's looked terrible, but it'd be tough to.
I don't think they'd cut Ricky, though. Maybe. It's very possible they cut him. I don't know, but alarming to you couldn't have any. Exactly, man. Loke Dog is flat fucking. I know he's strong. I get it. He's strong. But Ricky should have gotten more than 2 takedowns against Loke Dog, man. And then also in round 3, Loke Dog was on one leg, man. His leg was fucked up from that kick.
He throws like huge shots that you could easily duck under.
That's what I'm saying. He couldn't get him down. He was tired too. I don't know.
Nowhere near close either. And that was a bad.
Backstrap volume might be a problem. I don't think so. He's gonna be touching him up from the outside, man. He's got like good kicks, good like card. You know, his hands are nice. You know, yeah, his cardio is questionable. Yeah, I agree with you. His cardio is definitely questionable. But Ricky's cardio has looked questionable lately. That's the issue. Like, one guy's cardio, yeah, is questionable, but now Ricky's cardio is questionable. So yeah. All right, let's move on. Fight number 5. It is in the middleweight division. It is a 6-1 Nick Klein versus 7-0 Mansour Abdul Malik. Tim, what do you got on this greaser?
I do not have a split decision on this one. I do not have a decision on this one. This one is finishing. Yeah, I mean, this one's kind of tough because what I think is going to happen is not worth a Lambo. It's but I mean, I do think that if you're on the Klein side, taking him by submission or taking him by sub in round 2 or 3, it's like plus 4,100, plus 5,000, and the sub alone is like plus 1,400. I think that that's his win condition. I think round 1, why you could obviously cover the sub in round 1 with the sub prop alone, but like why I think it's more likely to happen in 2 is just you got to get Mansour to kick ass, and you got to get him to like smash himself out of the fight and then lose a position, and then you can maybe get it. But I think that if you're on him, I think that those are his bets. But I'll go with Malik by sub at plus 550. Sub 1 is plus 1,000. Sub 2 is plus 2,100. I do think it's a KO, but the reason I think that the sub is potential here is just sometimes you'll get these guys that when they get smashed, they just turn and they turn, give up their back, and the guy just takes the neck. So I just feel like it's not going to be a processed like arm triangle, anything like that. It's going to be a rear naked choke, turns over, doesn't want to get hit anymore, and then take the neck. But I do think it's more likely that it's a KO. So I'm not going to be betting it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's going to be KO1, honestly. It's a shit price. I'm not going to give that out. The thing is, like, he hits very hard, Mansour. He's very athletic. He's very strong. Nick Klein, honestly, is not UFC level, man. He got lucky. He got lucky against that fraud Brazilian that he fought. And I think that Brazilian he fought is a complete fraud, and he took his back and subbed him. He had no hooks in, and he subbed him. Then he eventually, I think he got the hooks in and subbed him. But Mansour's a powerhouse, man. He's very, very strong. He hits super, super hard. He's very athletic. They love him over there at Extreme Couture. This guy he's a beast, man. He's definitely very good. But his cardio is very, very questionable, honestly. He got taken down against Wes Schultz, a couple of times. Not the best look, right? But man, Nick Klein's so bad. He's so bad. His defense is so bad on the feet. And I posted a picture of him in my Discord. I don't know if you had a look at it, but it's him talking about, I'm grinding. He has a construction hat on, cement all over his face. And the guy works, he works a full-time job. He's not, UFC is not his thing right now. So I just don't think he's UFC level, man. He's not good. He's got like zero striking. His striking is awful. And he doesn't have any wrestling. That's the thing. I don't even think his wrestling is good. And now he's facing a very, very strong guy. Like, he's not going to get Malik down early, But like you said, to your credit, like, there's really no props to play here on Malik, right? And you played the sub, and fine. What I will say to people, right, is if somehow this fucking guy Klein can survive early and weather the storm and maybe make it a sloppy fight, right, and get Malik tired, because I do think Malik gets tired for sure. Like, he was getting tired in the Schultz fight. But the problem is Schultz got tired too. If this guy is to get Malik tired and not tired himself, I think sub 2-3 is definitely worth a sprinkle for this guy. Because, Tim, hear me out here. You hit a heel hook last week. By the way, I do want to apologize to Tim. He hit that heel hook when I tried to talk him out of it. So I'm a man first, and I admit when I'm wrong. So I'm wrong. So I congrats to you on the heel hook, 50-1. But Klein sub 2 is 60-1. Klein sub 3 is 80-1.
Where are those lines at?
Bet 365.
Okay.
Now, it's probably not going to hit, but these are, I know, what's funny is people are playing his sub 1. I think opposite.
I totally agree with that. I totally agree.
He's not subbing Malik when he's fresh, bro.
He's not getting him down. He's not reversing him. He's not catching anything.
So when he's going to sub him is going to be sub 2-3 when this guy's tired. So 60-1, 80-1, fuck it. Like, if you're going to play Klein, those are the rounds he probably wins when this guy's just fucking death gassed, you know? So yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with. Sub 2-3. I mean, I don't think he wins. I think this Klein guy's shit. But yeah, let's move on here. Fight number 6. It is in the featherweight division. It is the 24-11 Andre Fili versus the 21-7 Mel Costa. I will kick this one off. This one's like the Twitter fight of the week, I guess. Maybe not. I think almost everybody's on Costa. I'm on Fili myself. I looked at tape pretty good here. I just think Fili's better everywhere, to be honest. I think he's the better fighter. He's better everywhere. I think he has more experience. I think he has more UFC experience. And I think he's a better wrestler. And so I've seen Fili when he wrestles, like he's a pretty his shots are really good, man. He has really, really good shots when he wrestles. I saw Mel Costa, I mean, I know it's short notice and up a weight class, but he wasn't looking great against, Thiago Moises when he was shooting takedowns. And Moises, is not a great wrestler. Moises is not the guy that's going to, shoot a bunch of takedowns, get you down a bunch of times. He had 4 takedowns in that fight. I think that's the most. Yeah, that's tied for the most in Moises' career, So I do think Fili can get takedowns here. I think Fili on the feet is fine as well. I think he's got better hands than Costa. Costa is probably slightly the better kicker, but I think Fili can kick right there with him. So I'm going with Fili submission here, Tim. It's plus 1,200 on ESPN. It's 12-1. I know he doesn't have many. He only has 3. But I just feel like the guy is a better submission guy than Costa is. And if you watch the Algio fight, he had a couple of deep subs, man, especially the one in round 3. It was fucking the rear naked choke was under his chin, and just Algio would not fucking tap, bro. Like, he would not tap. So, yeah, man, I just feel like, there's a potential of him getting a sub here versus this guy. I think Costa is he's either a purple or brown belt. I think Fili's a black belt. I just think the experience comes into play here, man. He's got a lot of experience, and this kid Costa puts himself in a lot of submission attempts. I mean, Nurdembeki had him in a sub attempt. What's the guy? Other guy, Garcia had him in a sub attempt. So yeah, I'm gonna play the 12-1 sub on Andre Fili here.
Yeah, I'm on the same one. I like Fili by sub. I was thinking like split here, but I'm with you. I just think that he's going to grapple. I think that the grappling edge is the biggest edge that he has here in the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu. I thought that the fight for me where I really was super, super impressed was versus Bryce Mitchell. Like, he was able to get out of some bad positions against Bryce Mitchell and reverse in that fight and really made him work even in a loss. So yeah, I like Fili by sub as well. Where did you see 1,200 at?
ESPN bet.
Okay, cool.
All right, let's move on. Let's see what they said in chat first. Hold on a second. What do we have here? Mel Costa face paint. Yeah, what the hell was that? Covered his hood. He had a fucking shirt over his head. What the hell was that? Costa sub round 2-3, but I'm on the Costa side. Okay, that makes sense if you're on that side. What else here? Fili born in Washington State also. I think I didn't know that. That's good to know. Yeah, it's a homecoming for him then. I like Fili round 3. All right. Let's move on. Fight number 6. Fight number 7. It is in the light heavyweight division. It is the 18-10-1 Ian, the Hawk Kutulaba versus the 14-1 Ebo Aslan Tim. This is definitely a banger.
This fight should be interesting for sure. This is just such a variance fight. Like this is just these guys could fight 50 times and just have completely different results on 50 fights and just be like, oh, I just do not know what the fuck's going to go on. Ebo for me, I'm looking to fade this guy for multiple reasons. Ian's a guy that I also look to fade, so I think this is fade versus fade. But to me, I think that there's a more reliable fighter of the two from a cardio perspective that we've seen win decisions, better wrestling, better ground game. That's obviously Ian. Now, relying on Ian to fight smart is just like this guy does full on green face paint and goes ballistic like the Hulk. And then you got, Ebo for me. I thought that the last fight versus Turkali is just like he's 1-1 striking when Turkali has 0 grappling success whatsoever, and he's 1-1 striking with him. I thought the stoppage was incredibly fast too. That was another Gary Copeland quick stoppage. That dude just kills fighters' chances in fights. You get Turkali like falls down, eyes are open, lands back, puts his hands back to like he's not out, and then he stops. He runs in and stops the fight. So I think he would have lost the fight either way because of the drop, but I just think that was kind of stupid. Now if you said like who's a better wrestler and grappler between Ian and Turkali, it's just not close. Like this is not close. Way better trips, better judo, but more physical. So to me, I just think that this is Ian inside the distance plus 270. Ian by sub is plus 1100. Now I want to say that I'm playing the sub because of the line and because I think it's possible that Ebo just gives up his back and gives up his neck. But I will say that Ian's jiu-jitsu is terrible, but I think it's on the same terrible level that Turkali's is. So they're both like dog shit not grapplers, dog shit jiu-jitsu, but I think that both of them can get submission. So Ian ITD is plus 270. The sub is plus 1100. Sub 2 is 3400. Sub 3 is plus 5000.
I have a great stat for you. Want to hear it?
Yes.
All right. Ian Cutelaba has 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. He has 17 UFC fights. That's a lot. I mean, that's a fucking shit ton. He has, that's incredible. He's got 37 takedowns. Okay.
Nice.
Right? Guess how many sub attempts he has?
Like 2.
You're close.
0.
0.
Yeah.
He just doesn't go for him, man. He doesn't. I don't think he knows probably what a sub attempt is, to be honest. I think he had one like really early in his career, but like, I mean, 37 takedowns, 70, 0 sub attempts. This guy just doesn't know what sub is. Like he's just going for non-impact. And so I just wanted to say that because when you said sub, I'm like, holy shit, bro. That's fucking crazy.
It's
37
insane.
takedown attempts, fucking 17 UFC fights, not a single sub attempt. No, he didn't have any on Devin Clark. 0 sub attempts on Clark.
A monkey could sink in a rear.
He knocked down Clark, but he has no sub attempt on Clark. Actually, there's opponents that have sub attempts against him. Johnny Walker had 3 of them and eventually got one. Insane. So, no, it's just a funny stat, man. When I looked at it, once you said that, I'm like, damn, this guy has 0 sub attempts. No wonder. What's his sub line anyway? It's got to be way
1100.
It should be 2000. Honestly.
Yeah, if with
without
0
a sub attempt, right?
0 attempts.
With those stats. Anyways, so like Aslan, I don't know what to make of the guy because I kind of think he's improving for sure. I think he's improving. He was at Extreme for a little bit, and I think he went back. He's not at Extreme now. But the guy is definitely a powerhouse. I mean, he's got huge power. He's strong. I think his takedown defense is honestly getting better. I mean, he's improving his takedown defense for sure. Whether he can stuff the takedowns here against Kutalaba is another thing, but I kind of like his side, honestly. I just feel like I think the UFC want him to win. You know, he's an exciting fighter. He's got 14 wins, 14 KOs. He's never won a fight by decision. None of his fights have ever gone to decision in 15 pro fights. And, you know, Kutalaba, you know what's crazy about Kutalaba is that this guy was also the same way. Like, none of his fights really went to decision, but his last two went to decision. It's crazy. Like, this guy was known as a kill or be killed fighter. And then all of a sudden, you know, now lately in the UFC, actually he's been to decision 4 times since 2021, which is fucking crazy because he's only got 5 decisions in an entire career. And all the rest are stoppages. He's got 16. He's got 22 inside the distance. And 4 of them are lately that have gone to decision. But anyways, he's got the worst fight IQ, man. This guy I won't put a fucking penny on this guy because his fight IQ is absolute dog shit and I don't trust him. Yes, 1 fight he'll fight good, but 10 fights he'll fight stupid. So, and if he can't get takedowns here, honestly, I think he's going to get hurt. I think he's going to get hurt on the feet because, you know, I just feel like Aslan hits very hard, man. He's very heavy-handed. He hits very hard. You know, Kutalaba, I guess he's shown an okay chin lately, but he's also shown that he can get knocked out. I think Aslan's chin is actually really good. Seems like he has a really good chin. He seems very tough, and he's huge, man. So, I don't know. He's 28 years old. It's just, you know, a guy that's finished all of his fights by KO. The other guy has 10 fucking losses, man. Like, I don't think the UFC is trying to push Kutalaba. Like, yeah, I get it. He can probably maybe get takedowns. We don't even know. We don't know if he actually can get takedowns now against Aslan because I think his takedown defense has definitely improved. And he looks very, very strong. And he's probably, you know, I don't know. He's probably on all the juice too, man, to be honest. So I'm going with just 1 prop here. I don't love anything. I'm going with Aslan round 3. Just 1 prop. No round 2. Aslan round 3. It's plus 900 actually on Caesars. It's the best price in the market. I think the next best is like 750. So if you have Caesars, it's definitely the best price. I like that. Just because I think his cardio is actually not bad, man. I don't think his cardio is bad because how I see it happening is like if Kutalaba is getting his takedowns stuffed, he's gonna fucking get tired, man. He's gonna get tired, and to me, it seems like Aslan can carry his power later in fights. Like even in the Turkilich fight, Tim, do you remember, dude? His eye was like this, bro, completely closed. He was fighting with 1 eye, Aslan, and he fucking still nuked him with that big shot. So, yeah, I'm just gonna go round 3 here, plus 900. I don't really like this fight in general. I don't trust either guy, to be fair, but I'm gonna take the younger guy, the guy that I think carries more power, and I think has probably improving a lot more than Kutalaba is what he is. Like, stupid fighter that will throw big shots and try to grapple. And if he doesn't succeed at grappling, he's probably going to gas. So let's move on. Fight number 8. It is in the light heavyweight division. It is the 15-5-1 Alonzo Menafield versus the 6-0 Julius Walker. And I will kick this one off. This one is one that I was going back and forth on because initially I felt like the line was kind of short on Menafield in the beginning. Like he went down to like minus 160. There's some people that I respect that are on the Menafield side, you know. And I watched Julius Walker's tape and it wasn't great. You know, his striking is not very good. He gets hit for sure. He doesn't look great on the feet, but honestly, the guy is super athletic, man. He's very athletic. He's huge for the division. If you go look at the face-offs, you'll be like, what the fuck, man? He looks monstrous compared to Alonzo Menifield, man. And he is a giant 205er. And like being athletic is a cheat code, man. Like this guy is super athletic. And, you know, if you look at his resume, it's bad. He's not beaten any good fighters. You know, he's beaten Bavon Lewis is probably his best win. You know, former Contender Series guy, whatever. Myron Dennis is like a vet. You know, he finished him. He finished both guys in round one. But I was a little impressed in the Bartling fight. And I mentioned this not because Bartling is a great fighter. I don't think Bartling is a great fighter, because Bartling has very, very good accolades in wrestling, man. He's a D1 Nebraska wrestler at heavyweight. And a lot of his fights were at heavyweight, and he fought at 205 for this fight. And he was wrestling Walker, but man, Walker was fucking holding his own in the wrestling against this guy, and even reverse positions on him. He got him down at some point, and eventually he subbed him, man. He finished him. And so it showed me that, one, in a very, very high-paced fucking grappling match, he has cardio. Two, he can counter wrestle. Like, he's a pretty fucking good wrestler for a big dude. And three, I think he can finish people on the ground, man. Like, he's just, if you look at all of his finishes, they're all on the ground, Tim. It's either ground and pound or fucking submissions. So the guy is clearly a finisher, whether you like his competition or not. It's not like they're the worst competition. That's the other thing. Like, Bevan Lewis is not the worst guy in the regional scene. Myron Dennis is not the worst guy in the regional scene. Niall Bartling, you know, these guys are not the worst. And a big athletic guy like that, you know, younger, he's 25 years old compared to 37, you know, he's taken a lot less damage. Look at Menifield last two, you know, he's been knocked out 2 in a row. Absolute war against Jimmy Cruton, you know, a couple of fights ago. So I just feel like Julius Walker is the side here, man, at 200, 205, you know, that's the price I paid. And I honestly think Walker can break him later. I saw enough in that Bartling fight that told me that he can get Menifield down later in this fight. And a big motherfucker like that on top of you when you're tired, and he has very, very good ground and pound too. I think he can finish Menifield later. So I'm taking, by the way, you know, it's late notice. This is a late notice fight for both guys, right? That's known. But to me, it's a little bit more late notice for Menifield, because his fight was scheduled for March of 22nd, right? So yes, maybe he was in camp already, but he didn't really have much of a camp. But Julius Walker kind of had a fight coming. You know, he had a fight coming against this, you know, whatever guy it was. He's a bad fighter, but it was supposed to be tomorrow. So he probably had a camp. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, quite frankly, I just think the younger guy by 12 years, the more athletic guy, I think the guy probably with grappling upside here, honestly. And so I'm going to go 2-3 here on Walker, 11 and 1,600. And if you want to get sneaky, the whisper bet of the week, sub 2-3 on Walker plus 2,100.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're going to have to bet this one. I have 0 bets on this fight. Or I have 0. Actually, not even this fight. I have 0 bets on this card. So I just completely think that this card for me is an absolute shit show. I've already stated that I just don't think that there's a lot of dependable fighters, a lot of, you know, contender series guys that didn't make contender series that probably should be. Just super unreliable card. But like when you say your whisper bet, and then I have the same 2 props. I have round 2, round 3, and then sub 2, sub 3 for Julius here. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I do think that it's possible that Menifield could knock him out in round one. Like, I do think that it's very possible that could happen. Like, I think that this guy Walker has been hurt in fights, and I think that he is hittable, and I do think that Menifield carries that type of power. But I just feel like I feel like once that, if that doesn't happen, then I think that this is very live. That's the thing. Like, I do think that there's a very good chance that Lonzo can KO him in round one, but I also think I'm going to be having my hands ready to bet potentially live on this fight if he gets, after you see him starting to whoop his ass a little bit, and then you hopefully hear the bell and you're like, all right, let's see if he can continue this. So yeah, I'm on the same props. So I'm going to have to actually make a bet now that we're on the same two and then the sub 2, sub 3. So I like it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I like I said, there's a lot of people on the Menifield side at better numbers, but I think at 200, I'm gonna take a poke on this Julius Walker guy. I think he's hungry. I think he has grappling upside. That's the thing, and he's a huge. I mean, there's a very, very big size. Like, go look at the face-offs, and there is a monstrous size difference, man. It's crazy.
Smaller guys have gotten down Menifield.
Yeah, I mean, Walker's probably not going to shoot for the legs from what I've seen, but he looks, when he gets a body lock on people, they're going, like that wrestler, the wrestler I'm talking, like, this is a D1 Nebraska wrestler. It's not any school, okay? Once he got the body lock on him in the second round, he took him down. And I know Menifield is strong, but I honestly think Walker's taking him down if he gets that body lock on him. Like, he's gonna take him for a ride. All right, let's move on. Walker was bigger than Tristan Overeem and got his ass whipped. But bro, like, you're talking about a fight in the amateurs 4 years ago, Sean. This guy was he was new to MMA. He literally had 1 year of MMA under his belt, man. Like, how do you compare that to 2025 guy? Like, 1 year of MMA, like fighting and Overeem, like, you're gonna compare it to now? But look at the Bartling fight, like, completely different. He looks like a different guy with his wrestling and how he got up and counter grappled. And I know you got to bet on Menifield, but like, you can't look at that fight and go with that fight when he only had 1 year of training. I mean, 1 year of experience in MMA. Like, it's the guy came from a wrestling background, and I mean, from a basketball background. He's 25. And that fight you're talking about happened in 2021 when he was 21. Like,
the only counter, I'm not disagreeing with the take, but the only counter I would also make is, like, dude, Menifield lost a fight to William Knight where he threw like 5 strikes in the fight. Like,
I think he won that fight, didn't he? He lost. Oh my God, he lost it. I forgot.
He lost that fight, and then he fought.
I forgot that.
And who else did he fight? He fought to a decision that he won. I can't remember who it was, but I had him by KO, where he threw like 100 leg kicks, and that was it. It was against the white guy. I can't believe
I honestly don't. I just feel like Menifield also. I didn't mention it, but I feel like he's fell off. Like, I understand Mirzakhanov is good, but he looked like dog shit in that fight. He was getting dog walked, like bad, like 1-2, getting hurt. This just getting popped on. And Mirzakhanov is fast. Don't get me wrong. He has very good striking, but come on. He looked like a minus 2,000 favorite against fucking Menifield in that fight. He literally killed him. So, I don't know. Menifield coming off Ulberg, I mean, got knocked out. Then he got knocked out again. The Jacoby fight, too, was very close until he hurt Jacoby in round 3, and I had him there. I just think age might be catching up to the guy. I mean, I don't know. He's 37, turning 38. He's not young. All right, let's move on. Fight number 9. It is in the featherweight division. It is the 14-2 John Silva versus the 8-2 Malsik Bagdasarian. Tim, give us some Lambos here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this money line is wide for just the stylistics in this fight. I just think it's kind of stupid. You get both guys are counter punchers that like to fight off their back foot. Silva, I think, is really very good. So don't get me wrong. I think this guy's clearly got a lot of game. I want to see him versus a physical grappler eventually. They might give us one of those type of matchups, but this obviously isn't it, because Melsick is just clearly a kickboxer. I just feel like this fight line wise, I just don't think that Melsick in round one, like I could see Melsick winning round one in this fight. I think that there's potential that he's just a guy historically that has very good kicks. His boxing's not bad. He's got quick hands, but I like his kicks a lot. And in round one, he's like in the fight, and you can see he's got good cardio. Problem with him, obviously, is he's an albino belt on the ground, and just has zero takedown defense and zero jiu-jitsu. For me, I think that this is a Silva round 2, Silva round 3, most likely a KO, but I don't hate anybody taking shots in the sub. It to me is almost like a one takedown can get you a sub against Melsick if you have any jiu-jitsu whatsoever. I like Silva round 2 plus 430, Silva round 3 plus 700, 26-1, 38-1 for sub 2, sub 3. Don't hate him, but I think it's a KO most likely. I could see a Silva decision too, because it just depends on the durability of Melsick and how much in the fire he wants to get. But I just see Silva as a guy that, hindsight capping, like the Dober fight for me was like, I was on Dober going into the fight because I saw all of the narratives of like, okay, he's going up weight, he's going to fight it. This is his toughest competition, all those different things. But then after watching the fight, I'm just like, God, this is just a classic. This guy's he's a dangerous counter puncher with huge hands. And now he's fighting a guy that takes one to give one, and he's way faster than him. Like, it's just like, I just think that was a great matchup stylistically for Silva. So I think that they're both kind of counter strikers, both like to be off their back foot. So I think that the first round could be a little bit closer, but as Melsick starts to tire, I think that this could be a finish for Silva.
Yeah, man. I do think it's not a bad matchup. I feel like this guy, John Silva, is built different, man. He is an absolute savage, man. Fuck, man. The way, I forget about the Dober fight. That was, first of all, he took that fight right after he had a fight for 2 weeks. He fought Jourdain on 29th. He took that fight on a week notice, whatever it was, and fought 2 weeks later up a weight class against a very, very dangerous guy in Drew Dober, and just absolutely fucking killed him, and bro, this guy just like even the Vallejos fight, the beating he put on that kid Vallejos, the guy was bleeding all over the place, but he's so tough, Vallejos, that he took it. But then when you look at Jourdain fight, man, that's what I kind of looked at, and I'm like, oh my God, bro. Like Jourdain's never been knocked out in his career, right? He's fought a lot in the UFC. He's fucking extremely tough. And bro, every punch, Jourdain is like covering up. Like, he is so scared of getting hit from this guy, man, because he hits so fucking hard. He's just got very, very heavy hands. And I do think Melsick is the cleaner striker for sure. I think he's the better striker as far as kicking and the overall striking game, but the power difference is insane, man. It's literally insane. And I don't think many guys can take shots from this guy, Silva. And I just feel like he's going to body bag. He's going to body bag Melsick. It's just inevitable to me. I think it's KO 2-3. It's plus 290. I don't think it's round one when Melsick is fresh. I think when it's kind of his movement is slowing down, and he slows down. Melsick slows down a lot in fights. I think he's going to just put him out, man. It could be, honestly, could be a body shot. It could be anything. This guy hits so fucking hard. I've been saying this for a while. Before his Dana White Contender Series fight, when I watched his regional tape, I'm like, this guy hits different. Like, I see the reaction from guys, and it's just not the same. This guy might be pound for pound, like one of the biggest hitters in the UFC, like pound for pound wise. Like, he hits very, very hard. And I think he's just going to hurt Melsick, man. He is. And the thing is, like, a lot of people playing sub. This guy's not going to grapple. He doesn't grapple. Silva does not like to grapple. And I know it says a couple of takedowns on his UFC, but that's because his opponents are trying to initiate grappling. Malick is not going to initiate grappling. I don't see it. Like, he just doesn't grapple. He's a K1 kickboxer, you know? So
the only way I think I agree. The only way that he grapples is if he's losing handily.
But Malick has no grappling though.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the only not.
Oh, you mean Silva?
Yeah, the only way that he grapples is if he's down around. Caio is in his
okay, but if that's the case, he was down around against Vallejos and he never even thought about grappling.
No, I don't. I don't disagree, but I don't think it's something that you're like targeting that before the fight with Vallejos, where you're like, I can grapple this guy. I think Caio's like in the corner, or the guys that are working with him in this fight are like, dude, if you are losing at all in any moment in this, like, this dude is an absolute ass on the ground. He's a total asshat on the ground. You just got to take him down.
I don't know. I think he's just gonna smash him, man. Honestly, I really do. I'm very, very high on this guy, like super high.
I think he's very good.
I think his main issue, Tim, is he fights like an idiot in there at times. Like, he's talking to the coaches. He's like telling the ref, stop it. You know, a couple of times he waved to the ref against Dober and Jordan. He's like, come on, stop it. Stop the fight. Like, dude, you got to finish him. What do you mean stop it? You're giving the guy a break, you dummy.
Yeah, he seems to be mentally a little bit.
He barks like crazy.
Yeah, I really do want to see him against a solid grappler.
You know what I want to see him against? I want to see him against the guy that knocked out the Indian guy in round 3. Fuck, what was that guy that he made us a generational wealth spot? He knocked out the Indian guy in round 3. Let me see if my chat will help me here. What was his name? Breeden.
Oh my God!
Remember Breeden barking at him? I want to see Breeden barking at this guy. That'll be a bark off, man.
That will be only a bark off for about a minute, less than a minute. Do you remember what Terrence McKinney did to Breeden?
Oh my God, poor guy.
That'll be less than 60 seconds of barking.
Oh shit. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Fight number 10. It is in the bantamweight division. It's at the 40 pound catchweight. Sorry, 140 pound catchweight here. It is the 21-8 Rob Font versus the 16-0 John Matsumoto. Matsumoto did have a fight scheduled, and just he's bypassing that and taking this opportunity because that fight was against Chris Gutierrez on March 8th. And so he was already in camp, but he's like, let me take this opportunity against a top 15 guy. So it's a smart move. Rob Font, a big time veteran. I was at the fight against Kyler Phillips, and everybody and their mothers, including myself, didn't give Rob Font a chance. And he looked good, man. You gave Rob Font a chance?
That was the call in the pod, dude.
Yeah, that was a great. I mean, Rob Font showed out that fight. He looked great. But Kyler Phillips just got tired, death gassed in round 2 in that fight. Like, very, very tired in that fight. It was crazy how tired he got. And he completely mauled Font in round 1, like on top of him, like just from grappling, and then just gassed out. I think Matsumoto is very good. He's got a well-rounded game. He's super young. But he has 16 fights, so his experience is there. I liked what I saw in the Katona fight in the sense that he dug deep. There was some sketchy moments where Katona hit him. He took him down. But Matsumoto worked right back up. He got right back into the fight. So all of that is, for me, for a younger guy, when you're facing a little bit of adversity in the UFC against a veteran like Katona, I think it was a good thing. It was a good learning curve for him, and he came out with the win there. And so he showed a lot for me there. I know like people are underrating his power. I think he does have power in his hands. It's just that a lot of these fighters are pretty fucking tough, man. Like Argueta, we saw how tough he is. Surviving against who was that Australian guy that absolutely killed him and he wouldn't go away. We know how tough Katona is. Like, Katona is not an easy out against anyone. Anyone. Like, I know people can say, well, he won 29-28 against Katona. But, like, who blows out Katona? Like, if you look at Katona's history, Merab, no one blew him out of the water. Every fight he fought, he wins at least a round. It's crazy because he's going to keep coming. He's got great cardio. He's got wrestling. He's got striking. You know what I'm saying? He's just not an easy guy to fight. And Font is not an easy guy to fight either. But I just feel like the youth on Matsumoto is going to pay off here. You know, he's a lot younger. 12 years is a lot at this weight class too. And the thing with Font, man, is like we've seen him hurt a lot. And in the Phillips fight, I will say he didn't even get a chance to get hurt because Phillips immediately got him takedown. He was on top the whole round one. Round two, like not even a minute in, he was already gassed. It was crazy. And I've seen this guy, Matsumoto, he's hurting a lot of the guys he's fought, man. He's hurting them. So, like when I see Figueiredo dropping you with a jab and hurting you with a right hand and everybody else has hurt, like even Adrian Yanez was landing like crazy against him and he's buzzing him. I don't think like Rob Font's fully recovered from like the beatings he's taken. So you're going to give me a young 25-year-old that throws hard, that has power, that can actually chop off Rob Font's leg as well because he throws huge calf kicks. You're going to tell me his KO is 1,400? Like, okay, I will take a shot there. I've seen Font getting hurt in every single fight except Sanhagen because Sanhagen wanted to grapple him, you know, every round. But, like, this guy's getting rocked in every fight. Like, I'm going to take a shot on plus 1,400. That's crazy. Tim?
Yeah, that's where is that line at? That's insane.
I think it went up today. It's on Rivers, I believe. It went up. I had given it out. I had given it out at 1,200 on FanDuel, and it went up.
That's fucking wild. Yeah, I think like I mean it's right now currently it's 1,200 on Rivers, but like that even that's just a stupid line for your fighting Font. I don't disagree with that. People were just asking, did you know the reason why Brad Katona always wins a round is because he takes them straight to the Katonaverse. I'm Brad Katona, and I am taking you straight to the Katonaverse. So yeah, no, I think that this fight is very splittish. You know, to me, I think this fight just reeks of split. I think there's going to be some moments from Font. I like the Font decision and Font by split. I just think in striking, I would honestly, I had written down, I'm pissed off at myself because I didn't bet these last night, but like 3+ takedowns last night was plus 450 for Matsumoto, and 4+ was 1,200, and now it's like plus 100 and like plus 400 on those lines. So like people hammered those lines, and I think that in order to like, if this is just striking, you just don't see. I can't remember the last person that outstruck Rob Font on the feet. Like it just really doesn't happen. So, you know, you get a guy that's got such a good jabs in and out. I also think that if it is off of the clinch, I think Rob is really dangerous off of the clinch as well. He was fucking up Kyler in that situation when Kyler wasn't able to get takedowns in the second and third rounds. He'd get him in the clinch, and then once they got disengaged, he was just beating the shit out of him. So yeah, give me Font by points and Font by split, plus 800, plus 200.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense if you like the Font side. Yeah, I kind of think it's. I mean, he can hurt him too. Font throws pretty fucking. Those uppercuts he throws, man, they have a lot of power on him. But yeah, Gamblestein says, "Happy birthday, Tim." There you go. Very splitish. I love the Katonaverse. John KO, not likely, but it's a good number. Yeah, it's obviously the number I'm playing, right? I'm not, at 14 and 12 to 1, you're telling me 8% on 12 to 1. It happens only 8% when I'm seeing fucking Font getting hurt left, right, and center. Like, okay, well, I do think
this is what happens. This is what happens. Right. I'm sorry to interrupt. That's what happens. Like when we're hitting these props, like if you get the 1,200 on the guy because he doesn't have KOs, and Rob Font isn't getting KO'd. Like I know he's close to getting KO'd, but he doesn't get KO'd. Like if Rob Font gets KO'd this fight, both lines will be down like 50%. Like you'll start to see like the Matsumoto like KO line. The next fight will be like plus 550. And you'd be like, oh, you missed the opportunity at the plus 1,200.
Yeah, I just, when you look at his opponents too, like honestly, like look at Casey Tanner in Dana White's contender. That guy's super tough. He's fucking bleeding up the wazoo. Last fight, Katona bleeding all over the place. Like clearly the guy is hitting them hard. It's just they're tough guys.
Yeah, he sits down. Yeah, he sits down on his punches for sure.
Yeah, they're just not going away, So, and Rob is going to be there to hit him. It's not like Rob is like some great wizard at defense. He's going to take one to hit one, right? He's going to take one to give one. So, yeah, I mean, it should be interesting there. Moving on, co-main event of the night. It is in the middleweight division. It is the 24-6 Brandon Allen versus the 13-2 Fluffy Hernandez. Tim, this one's yours.
All right, now you guys got to imagine the Despicable Me girl when they're playing the game and he shoots the thing and then she gets the little doll and she goes, "It's so fluffy!" Like that's where we're at always with Fluffy Hernandez fights for me. It's always so fluffy for me. That being said, I do think that this line might be a little bit wide early. That first fight. The first fight for me, obviously, I think both of these guys have gotten better in the time that since the last fight. But to me, the first fight was like, if you're Allen and you're watching that fight back and you're kind of training for this fight and you're talking to your coaches, like, dude, he had Mount like 5 or 6 times on him in that fight. Like he kicked off the cage twice the first 2 times to defend it, but he was literally mounted like 5-6 times against him. And Allen just like made huge mistakes going for subs over and over and over instead of just absolutely trying to position himself and just like try to control and try to stay on top. And like, he just was 100% trying to sub. And the thing about it is that Fluffy is never going to just lay on the ground. And he's just such a fucking snake that he gives up really, really bad positions for himself. And then you almost feel obligated to go for the sub, which is what kind of trapped Allen in those situations. So I just feel like it's not like, this is not like, I'll add also that Fluffy's like not winning round ones in a lot of the fights that he's winning. Like he's losing a lot of the round ones against even lesser fighters. So Kopylov won round 1 against him, gave us generational wealth opportunities to bet him live, already had him in rounds 2 and 3. But he just doesn't necessarily win round ones at like this type of clip. So I'm going to be looking to bet him live if it's a Brendan Allen round 1. Brendan Allen in round 1 is not going to be easy to fight. The first fight went back and forth, but I just think it's a system play of rounds 2, round 3 for Fluffy. I do think that it's like a round 3 or decision would be what I would lean more. I think that the decision is probably going to happen, but round 3 for me, I think is more likely than 2, but I'm going to give out them both. Round 2 plus 650, round 3 plus 850. Could be, honestly, I know people are going to probably take the sub, but I think it could be KO from what we've seen in the last few fights with Fluffy, as well as just like if you take the positions that he had and Brendan Allen turtles up like he did in the first fight, dude, that he hit, now you can knee in the head, dude, like that to me is like a potential KO possibility for him there. So yeah, give me round 2, round 3 Fluffy system bet. It's so fluffy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there. I always bet. Like I always bet Fluffy round 2, round 3. Obviously, last one it was a 5-round fight, so I bet 3, 4, 5. And I was at that fight, and I was going crazy. The ref wouldn't stop the fight. I'm like, bro, this guy is dying in front of us. I kept yelling, hey, he has a family to go home to. Stop the fucking fight. And eventually they stopped it. I mean, shit, dude, he was getting his ass kicked, man, Michel Pereira. He was so tired. And like if you look, he's finished the last 4 in the later rounds. Pereira in round 5, Kopylov round 2, Shahbazyan in round 3, Marc-Andre Barrio, who actually has a great gas tank in round 3, Vieira in round 2. Fremd is the only guy to survive somehow. But the thing with Allen, man, is like his cardio's been looking very, very bad lately. And Imavov fight, he looked awful in round 3. Curtis fight, it was a 5-round fight, but fuck, man, he was tired. He was tired in round 2. And you have to remember that Curtis doesn't grapple at all. It's a different fight. It's a stand-up fight. If you go look at Malkoun fight, he was tired in that fight a lot. So it's like, man, I think Fluffy is just a bad matchup for Allen, man. For a guy that's gassing the way he is lately, I think it's just bad for him. Like, there's going to be a lot of grappling exchanges. And I know they fought once already. And like you mentioned, and Allen mounted him. I feel like from a grappling aspect, I think Fluffy has leveled up more than Allen has. Like, if Allen was a good grappler all his life, I think Fluffy has definitely leveled up his grappling. So, I mean, it's a system bet, like you said. Like, how can you? They have 1,000 out there, by the way. If people don't know, if you have 365, it's plus 1,000. I think it's on ESPN bet as well, 1,000. So those are only 2 spots that have 1,000 on Fluffy. Round 3. Yeah, it could be bowl. It could be KO if it happens. It could be sub if it happens. But you have to play Fluffy, especially the way Allen's looked lately. Like, getting the as gassed as he was. The problem in that round 3 against Imavov, if there was anybody that like had cardio there, like if that was a Fluffy and not Imavov, you would have finished him. But Imavov was death gassed himself in that fight. Like, he was completely shot in round 3 too. So, like, if that was Fluffy, that was guaranteed going to be a finish. Like, you would have killed him there because he was so damn tired. So, I don't know. The UFC likes Fluffy. I feel like they like him, man. I feel like fans love this guy. He puts on a show every fucking fight. Now he's he was the main event against Pereira. Now he's the co-main event. The people want this guy. And Brandon Allen's a good fighter. And I agree with you. The line is disrespectful, 100%. And this is the other thing I want to tell people. Hold on. I have to say this because I totally forgot. 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, I literally got like 7 DMs on Twitter saying, oh, you're so terrible. You took this guy on your show. And I'm like, oh, I took him in round 2. Or like, I took a prop, whatever, right? A big prop on some like big dog. And they grilled me because I took a prop on a big dog. And I want people to know, because if I take a prop on a certain side, that doesn't mean I think that guy's going to win the fight. I think that prop has value, guys. It's the number I'm playing. If you ask me who's going to win the fight, I can tell you, okay, I like this guy to win the fight. But like, it's
Nick Klein sub 2-3. This is a Nick Klein sub 2-3 bullet right here.
Yeah, exactly. Like, do I think Nick Klein's going to win? Absolutely not. But do I think that his win condition is round 2 and 3 sub? Yes, absolutely I do. And it's 60-1 and 80-1. So yes, I think it's a okay play to play that, because if he survives and Malik gets tired, it's going to look like a great bet, not a good bet. Oh.
Yeah, if they fought 60 times, you're telling me that doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I wanted to say that before anything, but I do think Allen is being disrespected on the money line because he's a great fighter. He's been in there with a lot of good fighters, and he's a grappler, right? Primarily. So this is grappler against grappler. It's not like Fluffy's just going to run over him early, right? Fluffy normally uses his grappling to break people. I don't know if he's going to be successful early using his grappling against Allen. You know, maybe Allen counter grapples and he gets on top of him, right? So, yeah, I think this Fluffy line's gone a little too far. I would never, ever play him at this price, honestly. I think if you're going to play anybody, it's dog or pass here. Because like Tim said, Fluffy drops round one a lot. And if you play Allen at plus 260, whatever, 270, and he wins round one, you're going to get Fluffy at pick'em or plus money even, potentially. So the smart thing to do is, honestly, to play Allen pre-flop and then maybe get on Fluffy live, you know, so. But I'm staying away. I'm not touching anything on this fight outside the props. All right, Tim. 605 live viewers. Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Hit the like down below. Subscribe, please, to the channel if you haven't. And a nice little shout out to my boy. Happy birthday for Timothy Troiano. It is his 65th birthday. We appreciate him for being here. He's a young 65. Look at the guy. Not a single white hair on him. All right. With that being said, also, oh, yeah, that's right. Someone just mentioned it. I need to hear a breakdown on Parker Bacoli. Tomorrow is a great, great boxing card, guys. If you're not into boxing, try it out tomorrow because that fucking card is like a once-in-a-lifetime card. It's so good. There's so many good fights. Virgil Ortiz versus Madrimov. The rematch better BF versus Bivol. There's like a ton. Bacoli coming in on short notice against Parker. There's so many good fights. Tomorrow is going to be probably like a 13, 14-hour live stream on my Discord, starting with the live spaces for the boxing. So we're going to be live betting boxing. So if you want to get in, link is down below, $25 a month. With that being said, Tim, this is the main event, and it is in the bantamweight division. It is a 16-4 Henry Cejudo versus a 21-8-1 Yadong Song. And I think this line's disrespectful too. Like, I really do. Like, because Cejudo, even though he's been out of the cage a long time, he came back and fought here and there. You know, he fought Sterling in 2023. He fought Merab in 2024. Dude, he still, like, okay, the Merab fight, right? It's a 3-round fight. He won 1 round, right? It's 29-28. And on top of it, he was hurt coming into that fight. Everybody knew this after the fact. Like, he was definitely hurt coming into the fight. The Sterling fight, I went back and watched it. I think he won the fight. I think he won that fucking Aljamain Sterling fight, and they gave it to Sterling, right? And it was a split decision. So, like, facing the probably the 2 best guys in the division, right, at 35, and going to Yadong Song, who I think is very good and young, and, you know, he's a big hitter. But one thing people fail to realize is Cejudo's game is, yes, he's a good striker. He's a solid striker. But his game is grappling, man. His wrestling, right? And what are the 2 things? I mean, I'm sorry. What is the one thing that he didn't have in the last 2 fights? Wrestling. Because Aljamain Sterling can wrestle his ass off, and Merab Dvalishvili can wrestle his ass off, and he lost both those fights. But, like, is Yadong Song, like, on these guys' level? No fucking way. When it comes to wrestling, he's not. Is he a better striker than them? Sure. But guess what? Like, I do think Cejudo can take this guy down, right? My thing here is what I saw with Song in the Yan fight, as gassed as he was in round 3, and Yan hitting takedowns on this guy, like, if Cejudo's like 80% in here, like not even 100%, I think he wins this fight, because I think he pulls away later with takedowns and gets on top and just mauls this guy when he's tired, right? I don't think Cejudo's finished. I think Song is extremely tough. Cejudo by decision, plus 370 for me. There's nothing I love here, but I think he's very tough. He's very hard to finish as well. And Song's the same. He's very hard to finish, but I think he can win a decision here. What do you got here, Tim?
I completely agree with everything you said. I just think that Song is a guy that's like, we've seen in 5-round fights before. We've seen him tire out in 3-round fights before. The gas tank has been an issue. The losing Kyler Phillips top timed him. What's his face? Cody Stamen was a draw. He was absolutely just like top timing the shit out of him. Like Cody Stamen to me is a perfect example of like stylistically like a good grappler, good wrestler, okay boxer. Like this, he's just like he's worse at everything than Henry Cejudo is. And it's just like, dude, Cejudo is a way better version of the same style, like the same skills. And he's also like super smart. Like he's a very smart fighter. He understands how to break down fights. He understands how to tactically apply himself in fights. So yeah, to me, this is a really disrespectful line, and it's basically just assuming that he won't be able to get any takedowns in this fight. And like you said, the last 2 fights are against, not only 2 of the best wrestlers, but one is just an absolute gas tank that just like has a gas tank that nobody else has in the world. And then the other just went up a weight class against Evloev and was, inches away from winning a wrestle heavy decision against Evloev. So it's just like, these guys are just insane grapplers and insane wrestlers. So I just don't see that. I just don't see that type of level wrestling and grappling wise here from Song. I do think Peter Yan is an underrated wrestler. And but that being said, it's just like round 3, as you said, just like this is a lot of interesting to hear. A final thing I'll ask you and kind of go on with myself is just like, a lot of people are saying like, oh, if this was a 3-round fight, I would take Henry. But now that it's a 5-round fight, I don't want to take Henry. It's like, I agree with what you were saying. I think like the more 5 rounds, like the more it's 5 rounds in the 4th and the 5th round of the rounds that I think that Henry could pull away. Like, I just don't think that. I think that he's seen those rounds before. I think that he could win rounds 1, 2, and 3 with grappling, but I think 4 and 5 should probably be his best rounds grappling. Don't you? You're muted. Your sound is down, I think.
I think they were looking at that Merab fight and how he's tired in round 3, but like he was injured for that fight, man. Like he's normally has fucking superb cardio. Like he can go 5 hard rounds, and he's probably better in the later rounds, So yeah, I mean, I think Cejudo, the line's a bit disrespectful, honestly. Like I get Song is the young like gun, but
yeah, I got this. The Henry by
Cejudo. Song is a one-trick pony, man. He's a striker, and that's it. Like, and I think he can get taken down, man. That's the thing. Like, he's gonna get taken. If Yan can take him down, I'm pretty fucking certain. Like, whatever. If Yan is an underrated wrestler, whatever, but he's not a better wrestler than Cejudo. That's for damn sure.
It's also like he's not winning these fights where he is just striking like Chito Vera and all these other fights where it's like Chito Vera was a robbery, but like some of these other fights like Casey Kenny, like they're like, it's not like, oh dude, Song is just murdering these guys. Like he's defensively responsible. He's out striking these guys 1.5.
Bro, Vera, if Vera gets you down, it's not good.
That's 100%. Like
Kyler Phillips got him down 3 times. Cody Stamen got him down 5 times. You're telling me Cejudo cannot get this guy down? Yeah, and I understand that's a younger version of him. Doesn't matter though. Like Cejudo's way better than these guys in the wrestling game. Like way better. He's an Olympic gold medalist, man. It's not even close. And I think the last 2 matchups for him have been bad. He cannot use his wrestling against Merab. He can't.
Yeah. Henry points, Henry split for me plus 370, plus 900.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is with the Aljamain fight, like he got Aljamain down 3 times, and we saw Aljamain against Movsar out-grapple Movsar, how good of a fucking wrestler he is. So, like, that tells you everything you need to know about, how good Henry is, at wrestling. So anyways, enough with that, Tim. Lambo parlay time. We've been going on for a while, hour 50 minutes. I will give mine. My first one is mechanical decision, Vanderford decision, Malik KO 1-2 plus 31.68. So 31-1. Add Hernandez 3 decision, 55-1. And then the other greaser that I have for everybody, if they want, it's Hernandez round 3, parlayed with Boukus round 2-3. Those are like, I don't know, 55-1 and like 90-1. You, Tim?
I've got Bukowski's decision, Austin decision, Malik KO, Fluffy round 3 points, 31-1. Add Henry points, it's 148-1.
Wait, Bukowski's decision, you're going too fast.
Bukowski's by decision.
Yeah.
Austin Vanderford by decision.
Mm-hmm.
Malik by KO.
Mm-hmm.
Fluffy round 3 decision is 31-1. And then if you add Henry by points, it's 148-1.
148-1?
Yeah.
From 31-1 to 148-1?
Yeah, I believe so.
Holy shit. That's a huge jump. All right, yeah. That's it. We have 12 fights, 12 Lambo Lambo plays, a couple of Lambo parlays. Appreciate each and every one of you. 628 live viewers. Thank you very, very much for the support. Happy birthday again to my boy Timothy Troiano. Thank you very much, guys. Good luck tomorrow. What is he saying? Narco, please, thoughts on Bacoli. All right, real quick, Parker Bacoli. This is how I see the fight. I was just telling my Discord. If you're gonna play Bacoli, he was still on the flight. He didn't even make weigh-ins, by the way, guys. Bacoli did not even make weigh-ins. 8 hours ago, I was looking at his Instagram. He was still at the airport waiting for a flight. So this guy is literally gonna fly in, and the fight is gonna be within, I don't know, 6 to 8 hours. He's gonna be fighting. It's freaking insane that he's gonna be fighting that quick. He's probably going to be weighing well over 300 pounds. I think Bacoli's 1 through 4 is fine. If you're going to play Bacoli, just play his 1 through 4. He's either going to knock Parker out early or he's going to die. He's going to die later, guaranteed. There's no way he's going 12 here. So I think Parker's going to finish him on the tail end of the fight, maybe 6 through 12 or something like that. I don't see this fight going to decision. Like I said, it's Bacoli early. It's Parker late. I think that covers you, I don't know, 90% of the time here, honestly. Bacoli's going to gas. That's just one thing. He's taking this fight at super short notice. He's flying in last second. He hasn't even weighed in. I'm going to guess he's going to weigh in over 300 pounds, honestly. So, I think if you cover yourself, you play Bacoli very early, 1 through 4. And then you play Parker on the later rounds. I think Parker stops him later if it goes there.
I just did I just redid mine. It's actually 90. It's 100. It's 100-1.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you for following, joining, participating. Appreciate you guys. Good luck tomorrow. And let's cash